The Truth of Girls.
Hi everyone. Being someone who has a child with Asperger's and someone who grew up with Asperger's myself, I would really recommend using visuals. People think that just because someone is highly verbal, that they should process everything the same way and that you should be able to work stuff out just verbally. And that, you know, if you're like really verbal, really high functioning, that it doesn't make sense to use visual aids, like this is for low functioning people. Not true. You know, at my age, I use visuals, but I make lists, which a lot of people do. It's not just for Aspies or ADHD or whatever. A lot of people find lists are useful. For someone, though, who is on the spectrum, visuals are really key, a total game changer. You know, with someone who's very verbal and can just, you know, have written stuff, make a list, make a diagram, work it out visually. It makes a huge difference. It seems to me like we have a hard time with like processing like sequential tasks, like just verbally that, okay, you're gonna do this, the order of it, or it's just like even the way things are gonna go in the day or whatever. For some reason, I know there's some kind of difficulty with that. Visuals just make things more concrete. And for someone on the spectrum who has difficulty with sequence of events or you know, anxiety dealing with something unknown or feeling easily overwhelmed by having too many things that you got to do and you don't have a good sense of how it's going to fit into your time, it's just really stressful. Visuals make things really concrete, really doable. Like if it's just one task, something like this, where like you could spend like an hour nagging your child about what they need to do, or just do it like this, because what it is about the visual is it just reduces the anxiety so much, because you look at it and you're like, it's really concrete. What you need to do: fill it up, water the plants, put them back, and then you get the iPad. Whereas the words will just add more stress. If you have like a whole day's worth of stuff to do, you could just make a little thing like this. Laundry goes in, you go out to get toilet paper, put the laundry in the dryer, you have lunch, work on your math, book report, go to the library, dinner and a movie. You know, you as the adult work out how this is going to fit into the time. And you map it out, and it makes a huge difference. It's the total difference between like, oh yeah, okay, it's really concrete, I can understand this, I know what's happening, versus like, oh, we got all these things to do, and like I'm so confused, and I'm just really anxious and stressed, and guess what, you know, then that's a trigger, and that leads to like more difficulty self-regulating, and you're more likely to be dealing with the crisis. I like to make the little comics funny. Like this one looks really wacky here, but it served a purpose at the time. Actually, here's like a timeline for a day, and what's the night time, how many hours there are in the day, and like roughly how things are placed on the timeline. All really helpful. The humor is always really good, you know, helps to lower the tension. For things like, you know, morning and evening, I mean, my son, like my super high functioning son, I still use this with him. It's absolutely necessary. I mean, it's either you do this or it's like a ton of stress. My morning, wake up and all the things he does to just cue you. So you're like, oh yeah, okay, this is where I am. You know, over time it gets better. Our mornings go perfect, super well. I have no problems with him in the morning because he just follows his routine. You can add other things, like if they're ready for it, you know, I make my bed, which would probably go up here. Winter, you have, you know, the snowsuit. And if you have a board like this that you made, you can switch it around. Put my evening if you need to. And then what do you have? Come back from school, I have a snack, I do my homework, I eat my dinner, and whatever else you want, and then the reward, watch TV, and I made it funny, his eyes are all googly. I know that people have a really hard time understanding why do we have to use visuals with a highly verbal child, because you do. Because it's either that or you're going to be dealing with a lot of issues, and it's a mistake to think it's a discipline problem. It's not, it's a processing problem. And this is a total game changer, just like this. When they're a teenager, you know, you're trying to teach them skills. I think at that point they're probably ready to start making their own visuals, writing their list. You like write down the things that need to get done, and then figure out how you're going to arrange them so it's doable. And know that you might not get everything done. Look at them, also think, well, you know, which ones might have triggers attached to them? How much downtime do you need afterwards to recover? Because you probably will. So you got to factor that in. And that's one rule of thumb that I've heard other people say. I think it pretty much applies with Asperger's. It's twice as much time, half as much done. I mean, you know, not to say they're going to get half their schoolwork done, but in a day, like they need a lot of time to decompress, a lot of downtime. And sometimes things move slowly, and just, you need to be patient. Don't overschedule, because they have a lower threshold for input. So hopefully this is helpful to you. Hopefully it'll help avoid crisis, maybe help you deal with it better. And, you know, it's been helpful to me and to my son. So let me know what you think. Thanks for giving me a thumbs up. Thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time. It doesn't just come out of nowhere like that. There's always stuff leading up to it. There's always triggers.